let's go ahead and get back to you and what you're doing. Okay. You quit your job. You had a real good job.
I did. I had a career.
Yeah. You had, and what was your title?
Manager of Court Communications for the Maine Judicial Branch.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds pretty impressive. Okay, now that was 2 years ago, was it? How long ago was that?
I left my job in September of 2016.
Okay. Okay, so then you...
So what happened was, I had met some women online, adventure riding women, and I thought, boy, you know, I sort of toyed with the idea of starting an adventure riding company for women, because I've always ridden with men. And it has suddenly occurred to me that genders have a totally different approach to riding.
Yeah.
So I had reached out to some women on a Facebook group, and there was one woman in particular that I met in New Jersey, and she said, oh, I come to Maine on vacation, we should get together next time I come to Maine. So she came to Maine and we met and really hit it off, and I really liked her. And this was in 2014 when I was getting ready to go to Baja, and I mentioned that I didn't have any mesh gear. And she said, oh, I've got tons of mesh gear. So she lent me pants and a jacket and gloves. This was a woman I had met one time and had lunch with. And that was sort of just reinforces for me this whole ADV community. It's brothers from other mothers and sisters from different misters.
Yeah.
So she and this group of women, core group of women, ride internationally every year together.
Wow.
And she said, oh, you know, next year you should really come with us. And they were riding Leh to Ladakh in the Himalayas over the highest navigable road. But that was the exact 2 weeks that I'd already made the commitment to myself to take my first long solo ride. So I said, nope, I'm going to ride to Colorado and back by myself. But next year, wherever you go, I want to go with you. And so she came back and I said, where are you going? And she said, we're going to Madagascar.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, so how long is that going to be? And that was going to be a 3-week ride led by Tiffany Coates, who's another British, very well-known female adventure rider. I thought, well, wow, the best way for me from the east coast of the U.S. to get to Madagascar is in and out of South Africa. And I really want to see South Africa first because there's a good chance I'm going to get hurt riding in Madagascar. So to see South Africa the way I want, that's 4 weeks. 3 weeks in Madagascar, that's 7 weeks. Problem is, I only had 6 weeks of vacation. So in August of, well, I guess it was November of 2015, I gave my notice. Because on December 1st, 2015, my 2016 work plan was due, and I had to explain why it only went through August. So I gave 9 months notice.
Wow.
And every night that December, I woke up in a cold sweat, full-blown panic attack every single night. Oh my God, what have I done? I said it out loud. Now I have to do it. And there had been an article written in about me in the Portland papers a year or two before, in which a quote was attributed to me. I don't know if I actually said it, but it sounded like something I could have said. And I said, adventure riding for me is more of a lifestyle than a hobby. And I thought, here's a chance to really make it my lifestyle. So that's how I decided to quit my job.
Okay, when did you start riding?
Seriously riding?
Yeah.
I first got on a bike back in 1979 with my friend Greg.
Okay.
On the back of a bike. And I thought, well, you know, this is kind of fun riding 2-up, but I imagine it would be way more fun driving.
Okay.
And my dad had a Indian chief in the 40s, and he was a rider for a while. But I didn't buy my first bike until 1992, I guess. But I lived in Texas with a guy who had a motorcycle, and when he was gone a lot for work, and I would take it out and ride it. I didn't technically have my motorcycle endorsement, but I rode it a lot in the hill country in Texas. But it wasn't until 92 that I got my motorcycle endorsement.
And, okay, so in 92 you got your license, and then when did you get your first motorcycle?
Immediately.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And what was it?
A Honda Rebel.
Okay.
250.
Yeah.
And the next year it was a 450. And then it was a Honda Shadow 600. And then I lived with somebody who had a Road King, Harley Davidson Road King, that I rode.
Mm-hmm.
And then this big adventure bike.
Oh, okay, okay. Good. So.
And then the little bike.
Yeah. So you've got the KLX.
I have a Kawasaki KLX 250
yeah.
that I started out on this ride on because I was going to be riding by myself, and I wanted to avoid the temptation to hop on a freeway and slab it somewhere. I wanted to ride slowly and little towns, and I wanted to be able to ride somewhere and see a road and go, I wonder where that goes, and go up a dirt road and follow it. And I didn't want to do that by myself on a big bike
Okay.
because I've not been riding off-road very long.
Okay. Okay. So, what are your plans now?
So-
or do you have plans?
No, my plan is there is no plan. And this is the type of ride where the road conditions and the weather forecast and who I meet along the way dictate where I go and how long I stay. So I'm just
Okay.
open to whatever.
Okay. There's no chance of going back to your old job then.
There is no chance. Unfortunately, my old boss has left. Nope,
Okay.
no chance of going back. That position's been filled. I tried to take a leave of absence at first
Mhm.
because if you'd asked someone 3 years ago who is the least likely person to quit her job and throw caution to the wind and just take off, they all would have said me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to have a job to come back to. And once I made the commitment just to quit my job, that was done.
Mhm.
But I couldn't make the commitment to sell my house.
Yeah.
So I still own a house, but it's rented.
Okay. Now, do you have any questions?
No, I'm looking at real estate in Prunedale, California.
Oh.
Perfect. Thank you. Prunedale's right next to Salinas.
Not to change the subject.
Okay, so right now we're in the Dells, Oregon, and you're going to be heading south tomorrow morning.
I am. To Salinas, California.
Okay, and you're going to be there for a few weeks. It sounds like.
A few weeks, maybe until rumor has it October.
Okay. Then after that.
Somewhere warm and dry.
Oh, okay. Wow, that must be nice. Well, there's not a lot of people that have quit their jobs and rented their house out. You know, if you look at some of the ride reports on Adventure Rider, there's people that are doing that.
That's how it started for me.
Yeah.
I would read those. We sold everything, quit our jobs, and are
Yeah,
riding.
yeah.
And I would think, these guys are riding for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. How do they afford to do that? They must
Yeah.
be trust fund babies. And the more I read, that people said, when I started out, my budget was $30 a day. Not for Africa, not for Madagascar and South
Yeah.
Africa, but for North America, $30 a
Really?
day. Food, fuel, camping, bike maintenance, tires, everything.
$30 a day.
Average.
Average. Yeah,
So
yeah.
if I stayed with friends and family for a week, you know, I saved money and I just had my food to cover. I picked up house sitting jobs here and there. I picked up day work, like for Rawhide and a couple other people in the adventure industry. Now I have house sitting and cat sitting jobs that I go to for people,
Oh, okay.
mostly for riders who are
Yeah,
off on
So
adventure.
Yeah,
Adventures.
that's great.
when you travel around like this, you take advantage of the tent space on Adventure Riders quite a bit, don't you? I mean, you do,
do.
stay with
Yep.
Adventure Riders, yeah. I do sometimes, but so many times I don't know where I'm going to be landing at night, and I don't want to call somebody
Right.
at the last
I
minute.
only
so-
do it if I have a set itinerary, if I
Yeah,
need to be
yeah.
somewhere. I don't really like to make a commitment, but I committed to Jocelyn to go down to Salinas to
Yeah, okay.
get there in time to drive her to the airport so she can fly to the East Coast and ride the Mid-Atlantic BDR with
Okay.
the Touratech folks.
Okay, well, where do you see yourself like 5 years from now?
That's a really good question. For somebody who always had a 5-year plan, this is a whole new, I have let go of preconceived notions about what I thought was important, about what I wanted, about who I am. I knew when I left that when I came back, I was going to be a different person. I didn't know how different. I just knew I wasn't going to come back and be who I was when I left. And originally, it was going to be a 1-year trip.
Mhm.
And then it morphed into 2. And the tenants have just signed a lease until the end of August of 2019. So now it's a 3-year trip.
Okay, and do you think eventually you're going to sell your house in Maine?
I don't know.
Okay.
Before I left, I went through a process of purging, and I thought I gave away a lot of things, and I was back in Maine in May, and I opened that door to that owner's locker in the basement of my house, and I was overwhelmed with all of that stuff. So I think if I do go back to a house and a more traditional lifestyle, it's going to be a much smaller house.